Hello, everyone. This is Ed Brenniger, and welcome to the Eddie Network podcast. My guest today is John Fayocavitz,
Good.
goes by Fayo, and I'm glad you're here. I was on his podcast, a month or so ago, and
Yep.
we had a good conversation. So I know we're going to have a good one here because there's a lot of unfinished business, shall we say, right?
Yep.
There's
Yep.
always. So welcome, John, and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up doing what you're doing today.
Wow. Boy, I'll make it short because it goes a long way. But I have, I am a coach through and through. Okay. I knew growing up in high school, I wasn't the most talented person, but I was the most hardworking guy out there. My size, I'm very small, 5'7". I know I wasn't going to go in the NFL. I knew that was the end of, but I was a good football player. I went to college, played football at the collegiate level, but that's about it. You know what I mean? I knew I wasn't going. I knew then that I had to be a coach, okay, because I loved the sport, and I loved everything about it, okay. So that's how I started. It was back then, and knowing the decision that I was going to be a coach. As soon as I graduated from college, I became a coach back at my alma mater, okay, at high school. And I coached there for 3 years. And then I got a full-time teaching and coaching position in New Hampshire. So that was back in 1883. So I've been coaching since 1983, both at the high school and collegiate level. But I knew then that's what my passion was and what my calling was to help individuals. And at a point back after, I think it was 1995 or somewhere around there, I would kept trying to get better coaching positions. And because a lot of my jobs were part-time because I left the high school facilities, okay, and because the kids were at that point were not what I was looking for at the high school level. So
Yeah.
I wanted to go into the collegiate level, and that's where I was. I'd say from 1986, 87, I started coaching at East Stroudsburg University, and then I became head coach at the University of Scranton, head lacrosse coach from 1989 to 1999. So I started that program, and the collegiate level was more aligned with I could say my accountability is, my ethics, and what I'm trying to build. And so I've been coaching, like I said, since 1983, but I shifted to college. And then after I got to that, like I said, I was trying to chase better positions. I didn't want to keep moving. Okay. So I developed, okay, well, I know I'm a good coach. Okay. I know I can coach. So I started my own business in the fitness world. Okay. So I went back home to the Scranton Wilkes-Barre area, and I opened up a brick and mortar facility. Okay. And I catered to people over the age of 50. Okay. Who wanted help. Okay. Needed help. It was an open membership at that point, but then I got to the point when I moved down here to Virginia. I wanted to even be more of a not closed membership, but just it was a membership based. Okay, not an open membership. It's not like a Gold's Gym or a Lifetime.
Right.
Okay, so I proceeded to just do that kind of business again, operating over the age of 50, helping them with their health issues. Okay, whether it be overweight, high stress, high blood pressure, whatever it was. But the coaching athletics never went out.
Yeah.
So when I moved back down here to Virginia, I got that niche again to coach lacrosse, because that's really what I like to do, because I was a head coach at the collegiate level. I was never a head coach in football at the collegiate level, but I wanted to be a head coach again. Okay. I was always that leader. Okay. I was always that person who wanted to lead. And So I went and I applied for a high school head job. That was 6 years ago. And I'm now still coaching high school lacrosse at that, being a head coach.
That's
So,
fantastic.
and COVID came, and that's when I again shifted to the online business. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I knew again when my landlord said that I can get out of my lease without any financial repercussions. I knew again that was a sign for me to, okay, let's get, since you're coaching, you got to put a little more time into that and find something that you can do at home. So I've done that for a while, and which brought me to where I am today, doing branching out once again. Since I'm 66 years old, and my journey of being healthier than even though I was a health person for 10 years, 15 years, I never, do what I say, do or don't do what I do what I say, that type of thing.
Yep.
So I didn't follow my own advice that I gave people. So when I hit 50, and all 55 and now 60 and 60, I realized that longevity is my most important thing. And that is why I'm this journey.
I have all kinds of questions. Um, I want to come back to the coaching people over 50. I want to come back to that because that's obviously where I am.
Hmm.
I will celebrate my 73rd birthday in a week.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and yeah, it is. And but I'm curious about coaching kids.
Hmm.
And I have a niece. My sister's oldest daughter is married to a high school football coach, a head coach,
Hmm.
and he is fantastic. He's an amazing young man, and he understands that he's a football coach, and he understands how to embrace the family in the process of their sons playing football, and he also understands embracing the programs of the younger kids. So he's got it set up where the systems that they're playing in elementary school are the systems that he's playing in high school, and
Yes.
and it's a brilliant thing. I'll just have to tell you this story because I think it's probably a story like you have experienced. So this is it at his former school where he was coaching, and I tried to get down there for they live in South Carolina. I tried to get to a game 2 or 3 times a season. So I'm
Hmm.
coming in and I'm sitting down in this, and I'm sitting next to my sister and her crew, and this family comes in and sits next to me, and they're sitting on, and the daughter of this family is sitting next to me, and then there's the mother, the father sitting behind, and I think another child is sitting in front, and the mother turns to me and says, "Are you part of Coach Cab's family?" I said, "Yes, I am." And then she goes on to tell me about what he did when he came to the school. And her son was a sophomore at the time and had not had any attention given to him. He was a small kid, but he was fast. He was small.
Hmm.
And she talked about how Coach Cab had taken him on and said, "This is what you need to do if you want to play. You want to start all the way through your senior year and then go to college."
Right.
And he developed his their son's skills, and but what she talked about was he developed his their son's mindset and his temperament and his attitude towards himself, and then she pointed to their other son, and the son that Coach Cabot had the effect upon was a young kid. I mean, he was a small kid. He's like a wide receiver,
Hmm.
safety size. And
Right.
their other son was walking down the steps, and he was a bigger kid, much bigger kid. And she says, "And you know what he did for his brother? He gave him responsibility in the spring that he had to lose 20 pounds." so he could get to playing weight. And he showed up for summer practice in July, and he had not lost it. And Coach Cab says, "You cannot be on this team until you lose that weight." So he created an environment of discipline so that these kids actually knew what they were responsible for. And it's just,
Now,
to me, that's
that
the
is,
beauty of being a high school coach or a college coach is you have an
yes.
opportunity to create that kind of effective.
And I do that. Did you say that he had the program from what grade up?
10th grade.
So it was from 10th grade up. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that if you can establish that as a coach going in, but the things that we have today that I have a lot of, it's not, I don't want to use it as a negative thing, but they have to be brought up somehow in a way where they know that there's a consequence for things. Okay.
Yes.
Parents have to understand that, and this is again, I'm not trying to tell parents how to be a parent, but we have to understand that the kids are going to look to us as coaches, okay, as that leader type thing.
Yeah.
But if it's not talked about, if it's not done something in the home, it's hard to have two polar opposites. And that's why whenever I go into a season, okay, I have a meeting with the parents, okay, adjust the parents. Now, if they come, they come, but and the ADs try to get as many people as they can there because that is the time where I set our school's expectations and my expectations.
Yes.
Okay. And that way, the parent, the student, and me as the coach are all on the same page and we're striving for the same goal.
I had the experience of coaching as a scoutmaster of a Boy Scout troop. It's not the same, but it's similar, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found was that some of the parents were overwhelmed by being the parent. And so they used, in this case, scouting, but probably used sports as a type of babysitting for uh, occupying their
After
child's
after school.
after school. Did
Yep.
you, so how do you deal with that? How did you deal with that?
Well, what the kids, what
Well, you have a kid who's basically not being parented well, but wants to be a part of this and uh, wants to be a part of your team, wants to excel, but doesn't really have the support at home for doing that.
that's when I have to take them aside. I take them aside one by one. And okay, and we talk about it in my office, okay? And I explain to them what the expectation is, okay? Like again, some of the families that I had coached with this past year, they're single parent,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay?
Yes.
So they don't have that support at home. But they got to understand, what I am trying. Again, I'll set my expectations because once I meet with the team or with the parents, they get the same thing from me. The team is next. Okay. So we meet as a team and we have the same expectations. Okay. Now, if that parent isn't around, then they can use me as that sounding board or whatever they need to support or whatever, because there's no way I'm going to turn them away.
So
Okay.
let me ask you this, because this is what I found, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously you're coaching the parents as well as the kid.
Oh, big time. I mean,
Okay.
that's the biggest thing.
What I found was I had to convince the parent that if they wanted their child to excel, that they had to become involved with the scouting program. Now, is there a
Yes.
way for the parents to become involved with your
Yep.
lacrosse programs? So
Yes, there is.
describe what you offer to the
Well,
parents that way.
we have we have what we call a team mom, okay, on most of the programs that I go to. Okay. And what the team mom would be, she would be the coordination, she'd be the sounding voice between me and the parents. Okay. Now we do have apps that I could still talk to parents and things, give them alerts or give them announcements or whatever we need to do. But our team mom has so many opportunities to relate to the parents about the opportunities that they could do to help us out. Like at before games, we have lunches, dinners. Okay. Because again, kids can't afford some of these things. Okay. So we offer that. We offer to people to run the concession stands during our games. Okay. There's so many things that we have, run the scoreboard, run the clock, you have anybody's sons that are ball boys that are younger. I mean, there's so many different opportunities that a parent can do to be involved in our program.
And you know what I call this? It's leadership. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
It's leadership.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing when it works, because the coaches understands that this is not about me, but it's about us together, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
It is. It very much is. And again, the frustration that you have is when those couple parents or three or four parents aren't on board. And what they do is they start to throw jabs or whatever into the program. Okay.
Right.
Try to separate because they don't like what I've done, or they didn't like the way I approached this, or the way, instead of coming up to me personally, okay, and having a one-on-one conversation and why did I do this? Okay. They'd rather go behind the back.
So how do you go about recruiting your team? How do you how
Well,
do you
you
how do you
can't
do that?
recruit, in high school, but you try to promote a positive atmosphere for the program. Okay. Most of the schools that I have been at, this last school it was a unique school because it's like I said, a lot of the families are single parent families. Okay. So there wasn't, and there's also no feeder program. Okay. Most of the programs I went to had an eighth
Ah,
grade feeder program. So
uh-huh.
this one is all by itself. Okay. And they had a terrible, terrible mess. And that's why the AD hired me, was to come in here and give some stability to the program, because kids were just running all over the place. They were going, instead of at lacrosse practice, they were going to football lifting. They were doing, they weren't even going to practices. Okay. So we needed to have that. We only had 26 kids this year, and that's including your eighth grader or ninth graders. So it's a tough thing to do at this point, is to try to recruit, but you got to try from step one. Okay, get the kids' interest. Okay, and as a coach, I got to keep their interest during practice.
Does
Okay,
do the college programs where you live um, interact with you?
no, no. Okay, because again, your Division 3, even Division 3s, they don't go. Again, times have changed in recruiting in lacrosse. The way they recruit in lacrosse, it's not like football. Okay, because football doesn't have club teams.
Uh-huh.
Okay, lacrosse has club teams, and there's different levels of club teams. All right. So if you are a very, very good player, you're looking like the dangest to get on to one of the best club teams, because high school games are at the same time as high school or college coaches are playing.
Right.
They're not going to have the time because lacrosse are played in 2 and 3 games a week, where football is played once a week.
Yes.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
coaches at lacrosse at the college level don't have the time to travel 3, 4, 5 hours, okay, and come back for practice or whatever. And, it's not feasible. So what they do is they go to all the summer, what they call showcases.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you're on a good team, the first question because I have very good relationships with Duke University, because I coached the kid that's the offensive coordinator in college. So the first thing he's going to ask me is, his coach, what's his club team name?
Yes.
So if that club team isn't at a high level, they won't even go look because there's so many kids.
Wow.
And okay, because the chances of, again, lacrosse doesn't carry 150 people like football.
Right.
We only have, you usually, you play with 10, okay, and that's what you have. So it's not like an offense and defensive type thing. You only have 3 defensive players, 3 offensive players, and 3 middies. Okay. So you're looking at a total team. A good team would be 30 max. Now on the college level, if you're watching the college, yeah, they probably have 40, 50 kids, but they're redshirting them,
Yes.
So it's a night and day difference.
Well, and that means that you have fewer kids, but you also have more, probably a deeper personal relationship with each one of them.
Absolutely. You definitely get to get a personal relationship with kids. Yes. And that's what I love. I mean, that's why I do it. Okay, is to have those kids and to just to lead them in some shape or form that they need, whether it be, absent of something at home, something, just I want to be their sounding board.
Well, what you're doing is what our society needs. I mean,
Yeah,
you're an older, not old, but an older adult who is a coach who's in relationship with younger kids, and you're establishing a relationship of trust, of mutual
yep,
trust,
yep.
all
It
these things.
has to be.
And and I've done similar things. So I understand this because I used to do collegiate university ministry as a
Oh,
Presbyterian minister. And you go in and you may be older by 20 years, and I'm now older by 50 years, but they still are looking for people who they can identify with
right.
and they can talk to. And so I have a lot of I meet a lot of let's call them Gen Zs here where I live, and have great conversations with them. And I've had them on the podcast because
Right.
we're treating one another as equals, and instead of the boss and the laborers or whatever it may be.
Right. You know, I mean, one of the things, again, in high school, and this is why the collegiate level was more of an attractive thing to me. Okay. And
Yeah.
I had to really redo things. And but I'm trying to get back. I am looking back and going to college again. But this high school has been an eye opener. Okay. The reason the parent, and again, parents are parents. They're going to do whatever they can for their kid. But I want to make sure like you said, I'm coaching the parent. When a student signs up for lacrosse, and we start in February, and I tell people, okay, beginning way before February, about the green day. We have green days and all this, where they call green days, where you can practice off season. I'm missing, and the reason why it's hard in the high school right now, and that's everywhere. I'm going to tell you this right now, because I've talked to other coaches, and especially in this area and everywhere, is the commitment that the kids put in. Okay,
Right.
it's not what it used to be. When a kid signs up for our lacrosse program, they should know from February, March, April, and maybe half of May. Okay, that is, you signed up. That's your commitment. Okay, and this is the biggest hurdle that I've had to do for the 6 years I've been coaching high school. Okay,
Yeah.
is that time commitment. All right. They come in and they sign up for lacrosse. And again, it goes back to the parents that they got music lessons. They got dentist appointments. They got doctor's appointments. They got vacations. They got all these things. That's not what you signed up for.
Yeah, I get
That
it.
is the most frustrating thing, Ed, that I've had to deal with. I mean, I had to change when 4 years ago. I practiced during spring break, right?
Hmm.
Now I only practiced 3 days, and I gave him the other 3 days off and plus the week, but that wasn't enough. Parents started scheduling spring breaks, and then you get feedback and you get pushback and you get, well, my kid's not coming. We plan a vacation.
Yeah.
Well, you know that February is when your kid started lacrosse and it ends in May.
Well, it's because they see it not as developmental, but as recreational.
You hit the head right, and that's what I tried to tell this last school. They treated this, the kids and the parents both treated this as a rec club,
Yeah,
not a varsity sport.
right.
The ones who win
Yeah,
state titles are the ones that ran it as a what? Program,
right,
not as a rec program.
right. I see this, and I see that there's kind of a spectrum here. And you got that end of the spectrum where it's recreational, and we want our kid to be able to put on their college application that they were on the lacrosse team.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not being asked, well, what did you do on the lacrosse team? Well, I warmed the bench. They're not, because I didn't go to practice all that. On the other end of it, and I see this particularly in basketball, in middle school, well, elementary, middle school, and high school basketball, is that they have all these extra programs in these traveling teams that they join, and so everything becomes oriented by a family around the traveling team that their kid is a member of, and so that becomes the the thing which dominates. So there's that spectrum, and somewhere in the middle, the kid has to have a sense of, well, this is who I am. This is what I like to do. I want to play college lacrosse or college basketball, but I also want to maybe um, do an honors program and learn some things that are beyond what most of the people in school are doing. And I, you know, I want to go when I finish. I want to go get a PhD, and I want to do.
Yeah. And I tell them, okay, I don't mind them doing anything. I don't care if they want to be a flute, a bass player, or a guitar player, a piano player. That is fabulous. But you got to adjust your lessons outside of the lacrosse. Because that, again, to me, is the commitment that I look for. Okay. And our other teammates should be looking for.
So are we're talking about if I'm processing our conversation well enough, we really are talking about a distinction between living your life for yourself and living your life as part of a team,
Exactly.
and how to learn to live as a teammate or a
Yep.
team member is a challenge.
I'm telling you, they don't, again, yes, the challenge is that. And again, it stems from where they come, the background, what they believe in, what they were brought up to believe in, what they see, all of this stuff. But there's so many things that we can teach them. And I would love to even delve more. I mean, adversity. Kids today can't handle adversity.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it all over the United States where kids are just, and parents, they're going off on refs and they're going off on kids and we're talking youth.
Yeah. Oh, I see it too. I see it too.
I mean, and so, that was one of the main things, again, that I try to teach them is how do you deal with adversity? Nothing's going to go right in your life. We're going to have pitfalls, man, but it's how we deal with it and how we learn. And that's what I keep trying to teach them in the lacrosse program. Okay.
So, of your experience of all these, I mean, you've been doing this for over 40 years.
Yep.
How has what is the range of support that you have felt from the administration of these various schools?
The administration, up until this year, and maybe the last 2 years, they feel the pressure from parents. Up until this past 2 years or 3 years, in this area alone, but I'm sure it's all over the United States.
I'm sure.
Okay. I've had the support and the backing of every single thing. I mean, I've seen so many. We had an incident, and this is so bad, and this is what really, it's epitome of what we're like. We had our program here again at this school. The wrestling coach did some awful things, right? So he got fired. So one of my lacrosse coaches that was going to be my assistant lacrosse coach was an assistant on the wrestling team. So the position opened up, and there was a another coach on the team who was a wrestler. Okay, so they brought him in for an interview, and they interviewed them both, but they brought the wife and the kid in the interview of the kid who's on the team.
Oh my.
The
Wow.
wife, and so when the interview was over between the two guys, because they were just trying to figure out who was going to take over this team since you were both on staff. You know, who are we going to delegate? You didn't have to go through an interview process because you were already hired. It was a matter of who was going to take this guy job over and be so they all got together with the principal, the AD, the two head coaches. But why did they bring in the son and the wife?
I don't know. That is so strange.
So the other guy got the job. My guy immediately texted me, Coach, I'm done. I can't deal with this. I can't, this is this. I had no support from anything, but they brought the wife, and it's just like,
The
I'm
other
done.
coach,
So,
his wife and son were there.
yes,
Yeah. Wow.
it's nuts.
That
So
doesn't
he
make
quit.
any
So
sense.
he quit coaching the entire, so now he didn't coach for me in the spring. And I can't blame him. There was no fair shake there. There was nothing.
Yeah.
It was input by the parents. And that's what we're getting today's day. It's input by the parents.
Yes. Okay. It makes sense. It makes sense to
I
me.
mean, it's really is. I mean, it's not only in sports, it's in grades too, in academics. I mean, if my son doesn't get an A, it's not my son's fault. No way, shape, or form is it my son's fault.
So what do we do about this? What's your as a coach and a member of
We
a
have
high school faculty,
we
I
have
guess.
to teach the parents.
Yeah.
We have to teach some. I know but they have to understand the effects that their kid goes through if we can't follow the accountability and all the things that we want to teach the kids if our parents don't have it.
I've dealt with leaders of organizations all my life, and what I find, and I think this is applicable to your parents' problem, is that a lot of stuff that went on in childhood or in college or something is, as a young person, tends to color how they look at the world, and therefore they um, are not open to doing what is the right thing to do, but they're going to do what is the expedient thing to do. And
Right,
um, and as a result, they're doing it to preserve their position, or they're doing it for one thing or another. They're doing it so they don't have to be embarrassed. Um, I find that it's very widespread that how do we deal with people's self-perception and their emotions related to being in positions of authority and responsibility.
Right.
And it's one of the great challenges that people who are responsible for hiring people and the people who are responsible for following people. I mean, it's a challenge.
Yeah, it is. And I know, I don't know who watches your show and this show, and I'm not trying to degrade parents in any shape or form. Okay. But we need to get together and all as one, be teaching these kids the aspects of what's going to happen to them when they get out of their house.
Well, I think it's because parents feel totally inadequate to be parents. I think at the bottom line, that's what I've discovered. And so we have to coach these parents, but we have to help them to see that they really are not in control. They're wanting to have this kind of absolute control, and they cannot have it because it doesn't exist anywhere.
No.
There's no absolute control anywhere any longer.
Mm-mm. No, there is
I
not.
recognize this with my children. I mean, my oldest is 40, so I'm an old man now, and my children are becoming middle-aged, which kind of stirs my head. But when they were young, when my oldest was probably 12 or so, my youngest was six, maybe 5 or 6, I recognized all of this coming. I saw this coming. And I recognized that what I needed to do was help my children to become adults as young as possible. And so I stopped answering questions.
Yeah,
Start When they'd ask me a question, I would start asking questions in return. So what do you think? Well, what do you think, Dad? About, what about that thing there? I said, I don't know. What do you think? Tell me what you're thinking. And I would get them to tell me what they're seeing and say, so what do you think of that? Well, that's what I think. I said, well, I think that makes sense. So I was affirming their own capacity to be independent thinkers, I guess is the way to put it. And I think that's what you have to do in coaching is you have to somehow motivate the player
yeah,
to want to be the very best player that he or she is capable of being.
exactly. I mean, that's totally true. I'll never forget the day that what guided my moral and ethics and everything was 10 years old. I went to home after football practice. I said, I'm quitting. I don't, my dad asked two questions. Okay. One, did he coach hit you? No, did he hit you? Did he abuse you? Okay. And that was the two questions. I said, no. Well, you started this.
Follow
You're
through.
gonna, you're gonna finish it. And now at the end of the year, if you don't ever want to play football again, that's fine. But you have made a commitment to your team and your coaches.
I
And
salute your father.
yeah, and we don't have that.
Well, there is that. I do see it, but it's more rare than it used to be.
Right, right. I mean, do what you want, Johnny. Okay.
Okay, let's shift our conversation to those of us who are over 50 and how we need to take care of ourselves. What,
Yep.
so you got a plan? You got
Oh yeah. I have what it's called the prime performance method is what I use. I shifted again when I told you that I neglected myself for a while, even though I was in the fitness world. And I want to live as long as I can, quality years, not longer years. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I want to be able to do the things I want to do when I'm retired, not doing anything, and just be able to play golf, do everything I'm doing right now. So I realized, Ed, that everything is happening from the inside out.
Yeah.
Okay. So I my three pillar, and that's what it's called. It's called the prime performance method, but we operate in a three pillar system. Okay. The three pillars are the first pillar, and they got to go in order. You can't go out of order. Okay. Is mindset. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
We we have to change the mindset that you have towards exercise and food. All right. We have to change and find out what the root cause of a lot of the things that is going on in your body and in your weight gain or in your high blood pressure or whatever. We have to find the root cause. All right. A lot of this stems from cellular level inflammation inside.
Yep.
All right.
Is that the number two?
That's nope. That's still number one, the cellular level. Okay. But
Okay.
we got to find those habits that are creating something negative in your life.
Right.
Okay. I try to teach them the relationship of food. Food is there for nourishment, not enjoyment. When we get to the point where do I really need this? Am I starving? Do I need this for nourishment? No, then put it down. Find something else, go for a walk, do something to take your mind off of it. And you can get rid of habits. They say it's usually right on spot, about 21 to 30 days.
Yeah.
That if you change something, your mind, because again, it comes from here.
Right.
Okay. That if I pick something up that I don't think or I ask the question, do I really need this? Then you shifted your mindset.
I get that. I ask that question all the time
Okay.
in
So
the
that's the
grocery store
first thing.
and in the grocery store.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So got to get rid of limiting beliefs. Okay. That's goes along with that mindset, the first pillar. Once we establish that you can do this, okay, then we go to the nutrition part, which is probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Mindset might be harder too. There's a lot of things we have to change. Some people have a lot of things. Okay. But once we conquer some, we don't have to conquer it all. We just got to conquer the most important. Okay. So that's the first thing I have. What is the most important thing? What is it that you do the worst? It could be nighttime eating. You're not going to do everything at once. We got to just tackle one or two things, and then we can go into the nutrition because that'll take care of itself, the other part. Okay. So the nutrition part is the whole food concept. All right. We have to get it back to where we were, back when our ancestors, back to our parents, okay, of eating whole foods. Again, nourishment over enjoyment, the taste and thing. Everybody wants to have that taste, and that's why sugar is blown up like crazy. That's more addictive than cocaine.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. So we have to change our nutrition and our diet in that way. And again, it's not going to happen overnight. So we take steps. What is the worst thing that we do? Okay. Do you eat processed food every day? Do you eat your processed meats every day? Do you eat out every night? What's your alcohol consumption? There's so many things that go into this.
Yeah.
And alcohol seems to be our biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's something that we have to tackle. That's tough. Okay. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I can help them out the best I can, trying to supplement or give them other ideas, going into a non-alcoholic beer or something, or non-alcohol, just to get, again, 21 to 30 days. But you have to understand what it's doing in our bodies, in our cells, in our, the mitochondria, that's our cells. Okay. Our liver and what it's doing, because liver is what processes all our toxins. Okay. If our liver can't work correctly, then the inflammation is going to be staying in our body because we can't get rid of it.
Right. Right.
Okay. So I work with the company that we have, that I have three companies that I really do things. I have a company called Functional, okay, or Live Health, where I work with them with blood work. It's a clinic, and clinicians are there, doctors, okay, where you have to get a blood test, because if you don't know what your what's wrong, you can't fix it.
Right.
Okay, so there's 100 different panels that you can ask. I tell them to do the heart panel, the liver panel, and those things. That's what I ask my clients to do. Okay, they'll get the results back, and then we'll go over that. And they'll also, this Live Health that I'm partnered with goes over with them.
I've done that before. Very
Okay,
helpful.
yeah, it is. And they'll again give you suggestions, and then that's where I will come back in and say, okay, well, now we got the blood work done. You got your suggestions. Now I'm here as your coach to help you get through this for accountability purposes and whatever else you need. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can get rid of all the medications that people are taking if we just eat the right things for a period of time. Okay.
So let me ask you about this because for me it's a very curious thing how we get um, brought into an environment where pharmaceuticals seem to be the answer to everything, and I'm not
Yep.
on any. I've never been on any, and so I'm curious about that, and
Well, it's driven by money.
I know that, but I know that's true. But a lot of things are driven by money. Um,
Yep.
but what I'm more interested in is what is happening in us when we're um, taking in all these. I would guess they're chemical
Right.
forms of not nutrition, but of somehow a I don't even know how to describe it. In my
Well,
mind, because it's an alien thing
what
to me. It's an alien
right.
thing.
What happens, Ed, is in the biggest problem, and it's not our fault really when you think about it, because well, it is your fault because what you eat. But our biggest problem that raises the inflammation is insulin resistance.
Right, right. I'm
Okay.
quite familiar with
That
that. Yeah,
that is the basis of a lot of our problems. Okay. Because when we get so much insulin, it just blocks the rest of it in case so it can't go anywhere else because our cells can't use that energy to lose the belly fat and everything that we need. So what happens is the liver now gets affected. It's called fatty liver. So now the liver can't affect it, okay? Because so it's going to keep putting out more insulin and more insulin and more insulin to solve the problem. And all it does is it keeps building up. And what does our do? Our bellies get bigger. Okay, we got visceral fat, we got adipose fat, we got all the fat that starts building up because we can't get rid of it.
right.
And it stems again. It's such an effect of what we eat, what we drink. I mean, that's where do you think beer belly came from? The
Beer.
term,
Yeah.
right? Because it's high in calories, it's high in everything. Okay. And it also does what to our liver? The liver has to fight the toxins of the alcohol. Okay. So that's working overtime. So we can't get rid of the toxins, other toxins that are in our body.
Uh-huh. Makes
So,
sense.
I mean, so we have to reverse insulin. And that's the second part that I team up with, that we help with people. Okay. We give them, it's called unicity. Okay. Where a person now, yerba mate, you ever heard of yerba mate?
Yes.
Yerba mate, and then it's called it's a balance, which is fiber. Okay. So they drink a yerba mate in the morning and in the afternoon. But the biggest key is this, because again, a lot of the people, we're not about strict calorie counting. We're not about strictly eat. They're not going to do it. Okay. Unless you're going to be in a competition somewhere or doing whatever. Lifestyle has to change if you're going to do that. All right. So you take a unicity, which is a fiber drink, 30 minutes before you eat your biggest meal. And what that does is it supports now you won't want to eat as much during that meal because you're full already. And all it was it's only an 8-ounce drink, but it foams up, okay, to where it's a fiber drink. And that's what we're missing in our diet is our fiber, and that's what causes the insulin resistance.
I see.
So if we can stop there, and then you don't have to take this forever, because again, what are we trying to create? Eating habits that are good. But
Yeah.
this is going to help us as a tool to get started.
Okay. I'm with you. I mean, I'm been working to get to the point where I have one meal a day.
Well, that's not. I mean, it's good. I mean, if you're
Well,
fasting, then.
but the reality and the reason is that I'm not hungry.
But are you not hungry because your stomach is shrunk?
I, I'm not hungry because I'm not hungry. I don't have an explanation. But
See, because
but as I've gotten older,
you
I
don't need as much food,
I don't need as much food. That
right?
really is.
The only thing that we have to do, if you're eating that once a meal, you could eat one meal a day, you could eat 6 meals a day, right? But it just all depends on if you're getting the proper protein, the
Right.
proper minerals. If you're not getting the proper protein and the carbs and all the things that we need to sustain, okay, then that's not the right thing.
What I find, I mean, this is what I have found. And I'm single, so I have to cook for myself, and I eat out more than because I'm seeing people and stuff like that. But what I find is that I will order something in a restaurant, and what they bring to me is way more than I need to eat, and
Oh yeah.
and um, and so managing portions seems to be another
Oh
facet
yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
And
Again, we go through that with portions. It's, the palm of your hand. You use the palm of your hand for your protein. Use your fist for carbs. That's what should be on your plate.
I have never heard that.
Yep.
Maybe you knew this. Back in the 90s, I came across a book written by a couple of Louisiana doctors called Sugar Busters. I don't know if you've ever
I've
familiar.
heard of it. Yep.
And their recommendation, I mean, this was before the expansion of all this this science that you're presenting to us.
Hmm.
Their recommendation was avoid processed food, but eat things that take a long time to digest,
Yeah.
which is what they were calling real food. And so I've tried to do that. I mean, you can't do it 100%, but that's really the way I've thought about
Yep.
my diet for 25, almost 30 years.
Oh, that's good. I mean, that's a good point. Okay. I mean, all these sugary drinks that we drink,
Yeah,
okay, all the things, the sugar that we put in the foods, they spike our insulin.
yeah.
Okay. And that's just again,
Oh, and what let me say this other thing. What I have found is that these processed foods lack flavor. And I know that's a strange thing to say because they're injecting it with a lot of food, but I find that they lack flavor and therefore
right.
it's not very tasty.
Well, I don't the meats themselves, they don't taste because they're not injecting them with sugar. They're injecting with additives.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Okay. Now your other foods, your cereals and all these other things are being injected with sugar. Okay. So that's what makes the taste. Okay. Your sugary things are going to be tasting better, obviously. You got to you got to be a label reader.
Yes, I
You
read
have to
letters.
be,
Yeah.
you have to be a label reader. I mean, I tell my clients every time, 4 ingredients or less. Four. If there's more than 4 ingredients, man, you got to look and see. The first thing I look is oil. What's the oil in it? If it's canola oil, sapphire oil, sunflower oil, there are seed oils. You can't
Yeah.
have it.
Right. I
It's got
agree.
to be olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. Those type of things got to be in the food.
So what's the third pillar?
That's the fitness part. Then we go into the fitness part of because you do have to do, there's movement. You got to move to do whatever you got to do. You got to be heart healthy. You got to be bone for muscles. As we age, we lose muscle mass. So we have to keep it, maintain it, build it up, whatever you want to do and whatever your goals are. If that's a program, then I put them on a program, depending on how many days a week that they're available, how many they can actually do, not lie to themselves. I mean, I get it all the time. I'll go, let's go 6 days. Let's go 5 days. Well, that's not feasible. I mean, you can't go from 0 to 5, okay?
Right.
Because you're gonna be sore in the beginning, so you might not. You're gonna miss some days, okay? So we got to start off with a realistic goal. The old SMART goals.
I've been challenged over the last few years. I mean, here I am in my 70s. In 2021, I lost hearing in my right ear, and with that, I lost balance. I
Yeah,
had vertigo, and so it's
that's a challenge.
it's a huge challenge, and I have to be very attentive to it. Simply standing up out of a chair.
Yeah,
And the other thing was 2 years ago, I had a hip replacement, and that went well. But what I've discovered in the interim is that um, it is in my left hip, and it lengthened my left leg a little bit, so that I'm now
on your right side.
I have issue I have well, the right side being shorter has actually put stress on the left side.
Right.
So so I've got a lift in my right shoe now, and everything's much better. I guess I totally agree with the fitness. I'm not questioning it. I
Yeah.
think the challenge for us over 50 is how to adapt to the changes in our body, where there's a lot of things we can't do like what we used to do.
Oh,
And,
absolutely. You can't
and
be doing CrossFit now and think. I mean, you can if you've been doing it your whole life, but you can't just pick up and think, oh, I'm going to do CrossFit now, or I'm going to do a HIIT exercise, which is high intensity interval training.
right.
Okay. We're just not, our bodies just can't do that or sustain that. Okay. So we have to find something that we can do that we enjoy that's going to get us the results and the goals that we're searching for.
I used to be in a member of a gym which did everything functionally oriented. Is
Yeah.
oriented around strengthening my back, my legs, my balance, and that sort of thing. And then I moved, and I have been able to find that kind of thing since then. So I have to do what I remember doing then as a way of compensating for it. And and it helps have a coach.
Yeah. Complex movements is what, that's what you want to do.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, more than one thing. Don't just bicep curl, squat, stand up, then bicep curl.
Yes.
Those type of things.
Well, we're about out of time, and
Oh man.
I think what you're talking about is really valuable. So how do people find you to talk about your fitness program? What's
I'm
the
on LinkedIn is the only platform that I'm using right now. Okay,
uh-huh,
because I think that's where the people that I want to coach, people that I think that would be committed, okay, to it.
okay,
That's why I called the high performance. My podcast was the high performance man.
right,
Okay, because I think that type of person has that mentality that doesn't,
right.
because they wouldn't be successful if they didn't have kind of work ethic.
I agree with that. Do you have is there a website for you too?
Not yet. I'm building, I'm starting to build one now.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll just send me whatever you want me to put in the show
I
notes.
will.
Send me a picture of you, maybe as the coach with a lacrosse stick,
Cross stick.
and we'll put all this out within the next couple of weeks, and
Well, thank
maybe
you, Ed.
people
I
can
enjoyed
contact.
this very much. It was awesome. I know I vented a lot.
No, you're just being
Honest.
real. And I mean, this is unscripted, so I don't want people to feel like they have to perform in some way this and that,
Right. I mean, I
inauthentic to
just,
them. It's been
right.
very I really have appreciated this because I like all the things that you said, and your fitness stuff are all things that I have been engaged in one way or another over time,
Hmm.
over decades. And and the question is, how consistent am I? How faithful am I? How diligent am I? And I think that's the question that we all face every day.
Right. Right. You got it. When I get my website up, I'll send everything to you, but I'll send some things before that. I'll just add that on to you.
Okay. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate you being here,
No,
and
thank you.
we'll talk
This
to
was
you again
fun.
soon.
Thank you very much, Ed.
And thank you all for watching. I hope this has been beneficial to you. I hope it'll make you a better parent and be a better athlete, but even more so as you approach the golden years. I call it the third half of life.
That's it.
You can find ways to extend your life in ways that maybe you would never thought was possible. Let's hope so. So thank you, and we'll see you next time here on the
Take
Ag
care.
Network podcast. Bye bye.